So, earlier last week, it was announced that the PlayStation 4 has shipped 100 million units. Now, that's quite an impressive feat, but what I really wanted to talk about and what I really found most interesting was the news that came out along with that news. And that was that for the first time ever, 53% of all games sold on the PlayStation 4 were digital game sales. That means that more people are downloading games than going and buying their physical counterparts on the PS4. That's crazy to me because this is the first time that that's ever happened in a console space, and for me, PC gaming has really allowed me to openly embrace digital distribution with open arms just because it's become the only way you can really play games on PC these days. I mean, even the PC games that do have physical cases on store shelves these days, you open them up and it comes with a digital code to download the game. They don't even come with disc. I mean, even Windows these days is sold on a USB flash drive because people don't even put CD drives in their computers anymore, My car is from 2018, right? Brand new. And there is no CD drive in my car. It's nuts to me, that we're now at this point where, yeah, digital, distribution, that's mainstream. That's just what people do. You download it instead of you going out and buying physical copies. Now, for me, I am a collector. I enjoy collecting games. I enjoy going out there and holding the physical case, and I enjoy finding space on my shelf to put that, up on display. I enjoy that, but I am part of a niche market. The majority of people do not care about physical media and do not care about how they get their games. They only care that they could play the games. And if it's easier for them, which it is, it is somewhat more convenient for them to download the game rather than saying, oh, I got to go to this store, or I got to find out if it's available, or I got to pre-order it. It's just much easier for people to say, you know what? I want that, and you can download it from basically you can download it from anywhere. If you're at work, you can choose to purchase something digitally, have it download to your console, so when you get home, it's ready to be played. So it's just crazy. The landscape has changed. The way in which we now purchase games is changing, and it's becoming much more commonplace now for people to say, yeah, I just downloaded my game, instead of, yeah, I went out and I bought a physical case of it. So for me, I didn't want this video to sort of be just a restatement of my current stance on digital distribution. I still will always prefer to go out and purchase a game physically instead of digitally. That is only with the exception of if I'm playing a game on PC, then if the experience is significantly better on my PC than what I will get on consoles, then yes, I will of course just get the game on PC digitally. Because I'm not going to sacrifice my personal experience of a game just to go out and buy, a physical copy of it and have it sit on my shelf. The experience in the end is what matters most to me. And sometimes it's best experienced on the PCs for me personally. Sometimes it's best experienced on console, and I make that decision at my own discretion. But instead, what I wanted this video to talk about was an idea of why I think physical media can still survive for a very, very long time. Now, I think in part the reason why we're seeing this great influx of digital purchases is due to the generational difference. It's crazy to me that, people who were born after the year 2000 will be adults. Some of them are already adults. Maybe some of you are 18 years or older. You were born in the year 2000. It's 2019. Yeah, you're 19 years old. Some of you maybe born in 2003, 4, 5, whatever. Maybe your first console was the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3. It's crazy for me to think about, but when you really think about it, these people grew up with this online infrastructure shared worlds, ecosystem. They grew up with, downloading games was a feature. Yeah, of course you can download games. They've always had that option. For me, my very first console ever was the Nintendo 64, and there was no Nintendo store where you could download games to your cartridge. I had an original PlayStation. There was no PlayStation store where you can go and download games. PlayStation 2, when I had that, there was no, the way you got game demos on the PS2 was subscribing to PlayStation Magazine, and they would send you a disc every month with a set of games, and that's how you would be able to play game demos, But these people have no idea of what that was, because they grew up in this world where, yeah, just go and download the game, go and download the demo, and you can talk with your friends. Like online gaming, yeah, I mean, that's, I've had that since I was like 7 years old, and it's just they're growing up with completely different opportunities and just features and stuff than people like myself have grown up with. And so I think for them it's like, yeah, physical game sales, yippee, whatever, I'll just download it. It doesn't really matter at all. And so for me personally, I will always prefer to go out there and purchase a physical game, just quite specifically because I enjoy having a collection I can show off, and I enjoy seeing the physical game on shelves, and it's just a personal thing, that I just enjoy. I enjoy feeling and holding, and I enjoy touching what I purchased. That sounded wrong. But anyway, what I wanted to get to was I want to take a look at the film industry and compare this right now with the gaming industry, right? The film industry has places like Netflix, and now you can download movies, weeks in advance before they come out on physical, on Blu-ray, DVD and 4K and all that stuff. But they still come out on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. And it's always amazing to me to think about. I don't know what you guys feel about this, but it's amazing to me that we're still selling movies on DVD format. I mean, who doesn't have an HD TV these days? We're still selling films in standard definition content, and people must be buying them because every single movie has a DVD release, so it's amazing to me that people are still buying DVDs in 2019. You would think that Blu-ray would become the standard format because of how significantly better it is, and it's not even that much more expensive than DVDs. You're usually paying $5 to $7 extra for full HD content that significantly looks nicer than that of a DVD, but yet we still sell all movies on DVD these days, and I purchase all my movies. I don't even watch movies on Netflix. I have Amazon Prime, but I don't use it to watch anything on Prime Videos at all. For me, it's like, if I'm going to sit down and watch something, I've invested so much money into my sound system, into my TV. I have the Xbox One X. I have the availability for the best 4K, best format for movies, 4K Blu-rays, right? So I'm going to make sure I go out there and I invest in my 4K Blu-rays to make use of all this cool extra technology that I have. And I don't even go to the movie theaters that much anymore. The last movie I saw was John Wick 3, and that has been the only movie I've seen in theaters this year. And the reason was because most movies these days, like 4K Blu-rays, have become, the quality is so high and the experience is much better than what you can get at a standard theater. I won't even go and see movies in anything but Dolby format, because anything that I see other than Dolby is going to be a downgrade to what I can get at home watching it on a 4K Blu-ray with HDR and the support for Atmos. It's a downgrade. So for me, it's like I don't even bother with that. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. My point is that we're still, these days we're still selling movies on disc, and there obviously is a market for them because every single movie that comes out gets put on disc, and you can still buy those films. And so when I think about games these days, I think about, okay, if physical games were to survive in a primarily digital future, what I would expect, and let me know what you guys think about this. What if we increase the price from $60 to $80, but we gave people, like Blu-rays do, where they come with a digital copy as well as a disc, we gave people a digital version of the game along with a physical disc. So you're paying more, but you're getting two copies of the game, one digitally and the other one of a physical disc. And so what you can do is you can give the digital code to your friend. You could, give it to someone else in your family. You could, keep the digital code for yourself, and maybe there is something where, okay, you can take the game experience with you if you have a digital code, and so you can redeem this digital code and continue the experience, let's say on your smartphone or whatever the case may be. It's just kind of seamless. So what if we did that? Would you guys be open to paying $80 for physical games in the future, but you got the physical disc and you got a digital download code as standard across the board for all physical games. You know, I still don't understand why digital games are the same price as physical. No one's complained about this, but keep in mind something. These companies are making more money off of us, so effectively they're actually charging us more for the game because they don't have to worry about production cost at all. When you're selling a game that's a physical disc, it's like, okay, I have to spend money on the creation of that disc and the marketing of the printing of the box art and the distribution of the actual cases. There's cost involved of getting that game on store shelves. Whereas digital, it's like, okay, put the files in a folder, put it on our digital storefront, and have it copy the files and download it to whoever's, whatever system from whatever server. It costs these companies nothing, yet they are still charging us the same $60 price tag for games, and no one's complained about this. No one's even brought it up, I think digital games should be $50. Because if you're going to be saving, if these companies are going to be making more money and saving money from not having to deal with production cost of physical media, then we should be able to save money as well, But no, we're still paying the same price for physical media and digital media, and it makes no sense to me. Because at that point, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll actually go out and get the physical case anyway because it makes more sense. If you're going to charge me effectively the same price, but I'm going to be getting less, and you're going to be spending less, which means you're making more, then I'm just going to make sure that I at least get the most value for my money, which involves a physical case. So, that's something that a lot of people don't even bring up. I also think that digital distribution needs to embrace the sharing factor. You can't just give a digital game over to your friend at all. Steam has done something similar like this. However, it's very limited, where with Steam you can do a family account or family share, meaning that I can say, okay, I can give my friend access to my Steam account. They could download games from my library being signed into their account onto their computer, but again, there's limitations where as long as I'm on Steam playing something on Steam, they cannot access that game that they're borrowing from me. Whereas if it was a physical game, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if I'm playing, another game on my PS4 and I let you borrow a completely different game on my PS4. You could just put the disc in and you play. But if this was, if again, Steam has done this a little bit, but these consoles, Xbox and Sony, they have yet to do this. And I think this is something that's really important that they need to embrace, is people like to share their games. People have families or different siblings and stuff. They like to share their games with their friends. And people like to give the some people have friends that live in different, states or whatever. And so they use things like the Steam share, the Steam family share, and this is something that I think could be really useful for these companies to do. It would ease people in to not feeling like you're so limited when you purchase a digital game. On top of that, what we also need to keep in mind is that lots of people don't have super fast internet these days. It is still, even though it's more commonplace for fast internet, there are still some people who have really crappy internet that's like under 50 megabits per second. And so downloading a AAA video game that's 50 gigabytes in size, and again, this is the next generation coming up. Games are only going to get bigger. What if games are 150, 200 gigabytes? Some of these people, if you have like a 50 megabit download connection or lower, this is going to take you 8+ hours to download 200 gigabytes of data. And on top of that, some people have really crappy internet data caps for their home internet. And so what happens is that when you reach that data cap, the internet company either cuts you off, they throttle you, or they charge you extra per 10 gigabytes of data, whatever you're doing. And so, again, this is stuff that digital distribution needs to battle against. It seems like, okay, we're getting there. It's becoming much more convenient, but the technology rather, is not evolving to keep up with the convenience factor. It's like, yes, it's more convenient to download games rather than purchase the physical disc, but there's so many limitations in place that I feel if it becomes commonplace, it's going to end up becoming a much bigger deal, and people are going to start realizing that and then be immediately turned off. So there is that on top of that. The other thing, and this is perhaps the most important and vital for me, I do not like the fact that digital distribution in its current form is a closed, controlled market. So right now, Amazon can decide to have a sale on video games, and they can mark their game sales down. Let's say they have like 20% off all their video games, right? If this was the digital storefront for these games, we would have to wait for Sony or Microsoft to sit there and say, okay, you know what? I feel like marking the price down on this game. And sometimes this may take months. Keep in mind, a lot of games these days drop in price after 2 or 3 weeks that they've been out, So I don't even pre-order games anymore because it just makes no sense. Games drop in price dramatically and extremely quickly. So, but if this was digital only, we would be waiting literally months for these companies to sit there and say, you know what? Yeah, let's discount that. Let's give them like $10 off or whatever, And so we're sitting here and we're sitting here in a controlled market, and we're going to start to realize that, yeah, over time, games are not going to reduce in price whatsoever. I mean, look at Nintendo. Nintendo's still charging $60 for some of their high-profile AAA games that released during the launch year of the Nintendo Switch. I think Zelda Breath of the Wild, I know the game's great, right? This is not the point, though, but I think they're still charging $60 for Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's because Nintendo controls everything. And so imagine that being the case these days. Imagine you like still paying $60 for like The Witcher 3 or $50 for like The Witcher 3, or something other. Like imagine paying like $50 for Uncharted 4. It's like it's been out for years, and this game would cost you $15-$20 anywhere else, but because it's a controlled market, they can decide when to have these sales and what to discount them to, and you have absolutely no say in the matter. I also don't see the point in pre-ordering digital games. I don't know why people do them. I guess the only reason is these companies have now offered pre-order incentives, but think about how stupid that sounds for a minute. Pre-ordering something that is limitless. There is an unlimited supply of digital games because you're just copying files. It's not going to run out, It makes sense in the physical space because you have a stock that you have to worry about, and it's like, okay, is that game going to be available on the day that I want to get it? Should I pre-order it? I just want to make sure I get this game on release. There's none of that. You don't have to worry about any of that when it comes to digital media. So why we're still sitting here, why these companies are saying pre-order the game, please, pre-order the game, makes no sense to me in a digital-only market, because it's always going to be there. You're always going to have. It's just a matter of copying files over, and you can do that however many times you really want. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, I feel that physical media won't be going away anytime soon. We're already confirmed to get a disc drive in both the new Xbox and the next PlayStation, so that is great. And yeah, if PlayStation and Xbox want to have digital only consoles, I think there is a market. Now there's clearly a market for that right now, I fully expect to sit there and maybe they'll charge $50 or $100 less for a digital only PS5 and Nextbox. What do you, it's going to depend, what people are going to want to do, but yeah, I think that physical media is still going to be alive for many years to come, and I think let me know what you guys think. Would you guys be willing rather to pay $80 for physical media if it meant that you got to keep your physical case, but you also got a digital code along with that? Would that help incentivize you to sit there and it's an extra price, it's an extra $20, it's a price hike, but listen, I get 2 copies, I get the digital copy, and I still like my physical media. That to me, that's what movies do these days. And on top of that, they can even go a step further and say, oh, if you buy the digital version of the game, you get it 3 to 4 weeks early. Like a lot of movies do that these days, where if you buy it digitally, you can actually watch it like a month before it comes out on Blu-ray, or whatever format, So I feel that if the gaming industry was to copy what the film industry was doing, yeah, there's a way that physical media could prosper and could stay alive. I don't think people want physical media to go away. Even the people who are, primarily digital only purchasers, I think people still love physical media, and they like the idea of like, yeah, I'm going to get this game digitally, but I like that, I can still go out and buy the disc, and, I can still give it to someone as a gift. I think that it's still important to a lot of people, but yes, the market is changing, and digital distribution is now completely mainstream. More people are now downloading games on their PlayStation 4 Pro, and they just shipped 100 million units. All right, that's not sold. Yeah, that's shipped, but still, there's millions of people purchasing games digitally and downloading them versus those of physical media, and that number is only going to increase. But if technology doesn't also improve and be more open and just be more, it doesn't embrace the freedom aspect, that we sort of need with the digital market, nor in things like the data caps on the internet and things like being able to share with your friends. I think that we're going to hit a wall at one point, and I think a lot of people are going to start screaming when they start realizing that, hey, yeah, I purchased this game digitally, but I'm starting to realize that we've lost something in return. And it's not just that we can't hold disc anymore. We've lost our freedom when it comes to our ability to do whatever we want with that game. Being able to sell your game. You can't do that on a digital license anymore. Once it's redeemed, it's redeemed. It's yours permanently. It's tied to that account. So what are we going to be able to do to combat this? Are we going to be able to combat this? We're just going to have to find out. So that's why I really think that physical media is going to stay alive for many years to come, and I don't think it's something that we have to worry about. I think it's still going to be very relevant, for another decade or two, to be quite honest with you guys. I think it will take quite a while, and I think the film industry is going to go first. That physical side of that media is going to go first before we see the gaming industry do that. So anyway, let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I super appreciate you all watching, and you all have a fantastic weekend. Thank you.